brandy in his left hand. He'd given up smoking cigars in the evening, when Brooke told him they smelled gross. He had to admit, he felt better for it. He could see the 3 closest buildings around a bend in Riverside Drive. Something caught his attention, a movement on one of the lower balconies. Then a boat on the river distracted him. He took a sip of the Remy Martin cognac and gazed back out at the river. His brain didn't have time to process the sound of the bullet before it punched into the side of his head and sent him tumbling through the open French doors onto the Italian tile they'd just paid a fortune to have laid in their living room. Chapter 2. I lay in bed, appreciating the dark bedroom. The apartment was quiet. With 10 kids, that was rare. My wife, Mary Catherine, had been pushing both of us toward a healthier lifestyle. That included a couple of minutes of focused breathing and meditation every morning. This was my time to breathe and meditate. I could hear Mary Catherine's light snore. It was cute. Not that I could ever tell her that. She had the belief that she never snored. As Trent once said to her, "You claim you don't burp, but I've seen you burp a couple of times. According to my debate class, that would negate your entire premise. Besides, everyone burps." That had earned my youngest son a stern look and a small portion of roast beef with rice and beans. It also put Trent on notice that Mary Catherine didn't really care for him pointing out her personal habits. I was mature and experienced enough to know never to make a similar comment. I didn't care if Mary Catherine burped after a pepperoni pizza. I'd act like I didn't hear or smell anything at all. Maybe that was the secret to our very happy marriage. That, or the fact that we'd been married less than 2 months. Then my cell phone rang. As I picked up the phone, I saw that it was my boss, Harry Grissom, calling me at 6:01 a.m. There was only one thing he'd be calling about this early. "Hey, Harry." I kept my voice low, even though I knew the ring itself would have woken Mary Catherine. "Sorry for the early call, Mike." Somehow his voice didn't sound quite as gravelly as it did during the day. "What's up?" Harry said, "This may shock you, but I'm calling because of a homicide." "No, really? I thought you might want me to meet you for breakfast or maybe go for a walk." I sat up in bed, then reached into my nightstand drawer and pulled out the little notebook I always keep there. "Where am I heading before breakfast?" Harry gave me the address. I said, "Wait, where?" "I know, it's close to your apartment," Harry said. "You could probably walk there. We got a problem, though. The body was found a few hours ago, but someone screwed up. Patrol got overwhelmed, and no one called us immediately. There's already media on the scene." That does make things trickier. I can't believe too many reporters are at the scene of a homicide, even if it is probably some rich guy based on the address. I stopped and thought about it for a moment. I was careful when I said, "Harry, why is there already media there at this time in the morning?" Harry said in a flat tone, "It's another victim of the sniper." Chapter 3. The only kid I encountered during my attempt to escape the apartment quietly was Jane, who often got up early to study. Even by her standards, though, this was a little excessive. I gave her a kiss on the top of her head and headed for the door. A cop's kids know not to ask questions when they see their mom or dad leave early or in a hurry. Just as I was passing through the door, Jane called out, "Be careful, Dad." It put a smile on my face. It took me longer to walk across the street and up to the parking garage where I park my NYPD Chevy Impala than it did for me to drive the few blocks to the crime scene. But the entire trip gave me a little time to think. The media had been playing up the story of 2 people shot from long range almost a month apart. I think it was the Brooklyn Democrat that came up with a catchy name, the Longshot Killer. It was easier to appreciate a good nickname for a killer before you met the victim's family.